So tell me, how does it feel becoming a god?
DDG, 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 the man.
Hey guys, what's up? DDG Man here, back here with another video. And today's video is going to be a review of Dragon Ball Z Battle Z. So the way that this video is going to go is I'm going to give you guys the plot, then I'm going to give you guys the good, the bad, and then my overall thoughts. And the thing is, with this part of the video, is that I'm not going to spoil anything in this part of the video. I'm going to wait till I give my full review of the show, or of the movie, rather, and then I'll talk about some spoiler-related stuff after that. So for those that haven't seen the movie yet, don't have to worry about spoilers. Unless if you have seen the movie and you want me to talk about spoilers, just wait to the very end of the video. So a quick side note before I get started with the rest of this review, or actually get started with the review in general, is that I actually went to go see this movie in theaters, and it was just an amazing experience going to see this in theaters because, you know, it wasn't really particularly seeing the movie on the big screen that made it, you know, that made the experience, you know, what it was. It was really, even though it was a part of it, but really what it was, you know, all the fans that were there. It was just a feel good to see all these people come out and support the movie. Just seeing all these fans come out and, you know, decked out in their DBZ gear, and, you know, seeing the theater all packed up. You know, when, you know, the screen started getting dark, everybody was cheering, and whenever, you know, Funimation's name came up on the screen, people were cheering, and Akira Toriyama's name came up on the screen, they were cheering. You know, see people, you know, even one dude was dressed up in, you know, freaking Goku cosplay, and, you know, it was so packed in the theater that, you know, one of the managers actually had to come in and ask us all to stand up. If there was like an empty seat next to us, asked us all to stand up and scoot over to make room for everybody else that was coming in. So, again, it was just an amazing experience, and I'm so glad I got to go see it in theaters. Okay, guys, on with the plot of the movie. Okay, so the way this movie goes is this guy named Beerus, which is the god of destruction, has just woken up from his slumber. Yes, I think he sleeps. I think it's stated in the movie that he sleeps for around 50 years at a time. Then he wakes up and goes destroy some planets, and he goes back to sleep. Why? And he goes back to sleep. Why? Because that's what he is. He's just the god of destruction. That's what he does. But during this past slumber, he had a premonition about fighting a Super Saiyan god. And he just wants to fight the Super Saiyan god so he can just kind of have an equal challenge, because he's like the most powerful being in the universe. And he just wants somebody at least, you know, close to his power so he can just have at least a decent fight. That's all he wants, is just, you know, a good fight. And so what he does to go find the Super Saiyan God, he goes and asks Goku, which at the time is training on King Kai's planet. And he has no clue what a Super Saiyan God is. So what he does, what Beerus does, is that he goes to planet Earth to ask the remaining Zains about Super Saiyan God. And the thing is that he won't destroy the Earth as long as they don't tick him off. And so, of course, they end up ticking him off. And then, of course, Goku comes from King Kai's planet, and he somehow gets the ability to become Super Saiyan God. I'm not going to spoil it in this part of the video, but he does. And then the movie continues on from there. Okay, guys, now it's time for the good and the bad. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the bad first. So, what's bad about this movie? Well, pretty much nothing, really. I know you guys are probably sitting there like, dude, man, you need to take off those nostalgia glasses of yours. Well, I do have my nitpicks about the movie, but there's nothing really bad about it to really harp on or really complain about. You know, again, I do have my nitpicks, but there's nothing really bad about the movie. You know, the only thing I can actually really think of that some people may complain about, not particularly me, myself complaining, but people in general complaining, is that there might not be as much action as you may want there to be in a DBZ movie like this. You know, compared to other DBZ movies, it's basically all about action. And this one, might not have as much as you may want. Again, this isn't coming from me. This is kind of like a general thing. But, you know, to me, you know, the action was balanced out with everything else in this movie. But, you know, again, some fans may just want to see a little more action. That's like the only real bad thing about the movie I can think of. So with the fact that there's not really that much bad in this movie, that means everything else is freaking awesome. Okay, first let's go and talk about the animation. And, you know, it's a modern DBZ movie. Of course it's going to look terrific. I mean, the colors just pop. Just seeing how everything kind of like just blends together. It's just, you know, terrific. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the characters. And the characters are exactly the same as you remember them from DBZ. They're all great and wonderful, and they still all act the same. And it's just, you know, and it's also really good seeing all these characters once again in new animation and everything. It's really great to see them. But the main character you guys probably, or the main two characters that you guys really probably want me to focus on talking about are Beerus and his, I guess his caretaker Beerus. I mean, not little Whis, or Wisp, however you pronounce it. Let's go ahead and talk about Beerus first, which is the god of destruction, you know, the main villain in this movie. And the thing is that it's kind of hard to even call him a villain in this movie, because all he really wants is a decent challenge from the Super Saiyan God. you know, even though he is the god of destruction and he destroys, you know, planets because that's what he is, because he's the god of destruction, you can't really blame him for him because that's what he is, the god of destruction. And I think it's kind of explained in the movie that you can't have creation without destruction or something along those lines. And all he really wants is a decent challenge once again. And I guess, and also with his character, he's kind of, you know, he's kind of breaks away from your normal DBZ movie villain, I guess is the best way to put it. Is that he's just not, you know, flat out evil. Again, he just wants a decent challenge. And he's also, you know, really funny, and I don't know, he's just really likable too. Now let's move on to his buddy Wisp, or Wisp, however you pronounce it. He's a really likable character too, because it just seems like he could just care less about whatever's going on. You know, while Beerus is fighting the Z Fighter, he's just over there eating some food and stuff, like nonchalant. He doesn't care. He's like, when's something interesting gonna happen? Or at least tell me when something's interesting is gonna happen. I'm gonna be over here eating this, you know, whatever it is, sushi or whatever. I don't know, I just really like these two villains. These are probably my two favorite villains in all of DBZ, you know, movie villains. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the action. Again, like I mentioned earlier, there may not be as much as you may want there to be, but when it's going down, it is going down. You know, it's just really cool to see how Beerus fights, because he uses like this pressure point type of deal when he's fighting, and he just takes out the Z Fighters really easily. And you know, again, and just seeing the scale on how big the end fight is it's just amazing. You know, you see him like fighting in the city, then you see him fighting through the ground, then you see him fighting under the ground, and see him fighting through the forest, and then seeing him go fight up in space. It's just, wow, you know, again, there may not be as much action as you may want there to be, but when the action's going down, it's amazing. Let's go ahead and talk about the comedy in this movie. Yes, there is comedy in this movie. You know how like in the original Dragon Ball, it kind of had a comedic element to it? Well, in this movie, they kind of brung that back, and with force. This movie is funny when you know, it's for a DBZ fan. You know, if you're a non-DBZ fan, you probably won't laugh at some of the things that are happening. But if you're a DBZ fan, you will be laughing out loud throughout the movie, because it's just, I don't know, it's just that DBZ goodness, feel good type of humor is in the movie. I don't want to spoil any of the funnier parts in the video. I'll talk about that in the spoiler part of the video later on. But right now, I just tell you guys that you'll be smiling throughout the movie. And now for the final thing I want to talk about in the good category of the movie is the story itself, because I like the story a lot in this movie because it kind of breaks away from the normal DBZ movie formula a bit. Because, you know, the normal DBZ formula, or movie formula, is that, you know, the Z Fighters are just chilling, and then the bad guy shows up and takes them out in round 1. And then in round 2, they all get like a big power-up, or more than likely, Goku gets a big power-up, and they defeat the main villain. But in this movie, they really changed that up a bit, especially towards the end of the movie, which I just really like the end of the movie because it kind of leaves this up to, like, you know, it's not an open-ended ending, or that's not how I really explain it, but it kind of opens up possibilities for like a mini-series, or, you know, a full series in general, or more movies, which they actually are making another movie, which will be coming out in spring 2015. So it's time for my overall thoughts, and my overall thoughts is that if you're a DBZ fan, you have to see this movie. You'll just gush over this movie. It's just, especially if you watch it with a group of friends, it's amazing. That's all I have to say about it. Is that, you know, it's just really good to see DBZ, you know, back again. You know, new animation. You know, the action's there, the story is there. It's just, I can't say enough good about the movie. It's just that good. So my overall score I'm going to give this movie is a 9.5. I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10 because of my nitpicks. So, you know, to get a 10 out of 10 has to be, you know, freaking flawless. But, you know, it gets pretty darn close. But overall, again, a 9.5 out of 10. So, again, love this movie. If you're a DBZ fan, you got to go see this movie. Okay, now it's time for me to go ahead and talk about my nitpicks and some spoiler-related stuff in the movie. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and leave the video now, because I just gave you guys my full review of it. This is just my spoiler stuff I want to talk about and nitpick-related stuff. Okay, so leave now. Alright, here I go. Okay, first thing I want to talk about are my two favorite comedic moments in the movie, just because I just couldn't pick one over the other. One of them is when Beerus is at the party, and he goes and asks, you know, Majin Buu if he could have some pudding. Well, him and Whis can have some pudding, and Boo's like, no, this is my pudding. And, you know, Beerus is like, okay, I can understand if you can't spare two, but just go ahead and give me one, meaning that he just wants one for himself. He can care less about Whis. And Majin Buu's like, Majin Buu is still like, no, this is my pudding. He sits there, licks it all, and just eats it. It's just, That's that's a really funny scene. Another scene that I like is is close to the very end of the movie where Goku was kind of teasing Vegeta for the way he acted when Bulma got slapped, and he's like, "My Bulma," the way that Goku is just mocking him is just freaking hilarious too. Everybody in the theater was just cracking up. Okay, let's go and talk about nitpicks, and the main nitpick I have is kind of with Shenron, or really the wishes in general surrounding Shenron, because one of the things in this movie is that Pilaf, Mai, and Shu are kids again because they collected the Dragon Ball sometime between I'm guessing sometime between the time they defeated Majin Buu and the time wherever this movie started, or something, or sometime during the Buu saga or something like that. They collected the Dragon Balls and made a wish. They accidentally messed up a wish to actually turn themselves into kids again by accident. They kind of messed up the wish. My problem with that is that Shenron, at this point in the series, does have the ability to make 3 wishes, because after the Cell saga, then they remade the Dragon Balls, the Earth Dragon Balls, to where they can make 3 wishes. Unless it's a really powerful wish, then it only goes down to 2 wishes, like wishing like a whole bunch of people back to life at one time, then it goes down to 2. But otherwise, he can make 3 wishes. I know that, Pilaf and gang are bumbling idiots or buffoons, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't mess up 3 wishes. The fact that they wouldn't wish for themselves to be rich or something, or or to turn themselves back to normal or something along those lines. I mean, they had 3 wishes, so I'm thinking that, Akira Toriyama or somebody just overlooked the fact that he can make 3 wishes. The other deal I have with Shenron and his 3 wishes is when Goku wishes to know about the Super Saiyan God, and he does grant that wish, but then he flies away afterwards. I guess it could be kind of explained that he just flew away because he didn't like being around Beerus or whatever, but still, they still had 2 full wishes left, so where are you going, Shenron? I still got 2 wishes. You can't just run away because Beerus is here. Well, that was my main nitpick about the movie. I'm pretty sure other people have nitpicks. I know other people have other nitpicks about the movie, but that was my main nitpick, and I don't really feel like talking about other people's nitpicks right now. So again, overall, you guys, I freaking adored this movie. It was amazing. Again, if you're a DBZ fan, you have to go see this movie. It's great. Again, I know some of you guys are still probably like, I got my nostalgia glasses on, and they're blinding me from actually seeing the bad about this movie, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I felt like it was very balanced with everything from the story, the comedy, and the action. It was great. And again, I enjoyed it a whole bunch. So again, this is DJ Demand. If you like me, well, I meant to say if you like the video, like the video. If you like me, subscribe to me. And as always, this is DJ Demand, and I'll catch y'all next time.